My name is Evan Mulch of Spartanburg, and I support Ron Paul. I'm new to the area, you can probably tell by my accent. Although I'm from another place, the people from my hometown community are a lot like the people of Spartanburg. We believe in God, we love our country, and we support our troops. People often say folks shouldn't mix spiritual life, better known as religion, and politics. My personal belief is that if you have a spiritual life, you really can't avoid mixing it with politics.
That's right.
We should never be afraid to share our spiritual thoughts in public when discussing our country's politics. This is our responsibility as Americans. Indeed, the Bible relates to our present day in the same way history repeats itself. We should heed God and history. For my spiritual slant, I'd like to remind you all of Ezekiel 33. Ezekiel 33 is a chapter in the Old Testament that explains the watchman's duties, particularly up to verse 6, where God tells of the fate of a watchman who shirks the duty. Here it is. Ezekiel 33, 1 through 6. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, When I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their choice, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet, and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take away, his blood shall be upon his head. He heard the sound of the trumpet, and took no warning. His blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. Ron Paul is blowing a trumpet. Those of us who support Ron Paul, we blow our trumpets all the time, which may aggravate some people. But really, everybody should appreciate the watchman, especially if you are a spiritual person. Ron Paul was recently labeled a prophet by Time magazine due to his economic predictions, and has been called the modern-day Thomas Jefferson by both Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox News host of Freedom Watch, and Doug Weed, former special assistant to U.S. President George H.W. Bush. There's no doubt in my mind that Ron Paul is a lead watchman for our American way of life, with over 30 years of consistency supporting the Constitution and everything it stands for. And he has done it every day so unselfishly for the American people. Dr. Paul in 2002 predicted the housing bubble that took place in 2008. In 2002, he predicted the Iraq War. He predicted that the Iraq War would be a huge financial burden on America and will last many years longer than Congress ever expected. Even before Dr. Paul began politics, he predicted that the Federal Reserve would create a giant debt for our country. Right now, Americans hold the largest debt in world history. And we wouldn't have had this if it wasn't for the unconstitutional and secretive Federal Reserve. Not only has he made these predictions, but he has always provided us with his ideas on how to solve the problems. He's provided these ideas by authoring 6 books. In his latest book, Liberty Defined, 50 Essential Issues That Affect Our Freedom, he describes his positions on nearly every political issue that we face today. I will tell you that after I read this book, I have no doubt that Ron Paul is America's watchman. And we have our own watchman in our community, Jesse Campbell. Some people, they define him as the American Legion here in Spartanburg. He has shown his support recently for Ron Paul. He told me when I met him, he said, Ron Paul is saying the same stuff I've been trying to tell people for 25 years. And he was a Navy commander, and he tells me that You know, he didn't quit, when he quit serving in the Navy, he did not quit serving in America. He has always served in America. He has sent hundreds of kids to Boys and Girls State of South Carolina. He has served through the American Legion baseball program, and before every single baseball game, he would make sure to tell the kids that we have a duty to this country. We have a duty to protect our liberties, to promote God and country. So we have our own watchmen, and we can all be the watchmen of this country. In religion as well as nature, we experience that we know a tree by the fruit it bears. In the New Testament's Galatians 5, verses 22 and 23, the fruit of the Spirit as described as, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Ron Paul walks the walk, practices what he preaches.
Yep.
Ron Paul bears good fruit.
Amen.
For the philosophical, I'll mention something we're all familiar with. The Battle of Cowpens. The Battle of Cowpens was fought on January 17th, 1781, during the Southern campaign of the American Revolutionary War, and was an overwhelming victory by American Revolutionary forces under Brigadier General Daniel Morgan. It was a turning point in the reconquest of South Carolina from the British, and went down in history as the great American tactical masterpiece of the war. The classic military tactic known as a double envelopment was one of only a few in the history in battle that indeed was the positive turn in winning the American Revolution. The Cowpens victory boosted Northern morale, resulting in additional and greatly deserved military assistance for General Greene, and initiated a chain of events leading to an eventual Patriot victory at Yorktown. In truth, the revolution was won in the South, and Cowpens played a major role in the victory. Incidentally, the Battle of Cowpens is still studied at West Point Military Academy for strategic significance. Here in downtown Spartanburg is a memorial square for General Daniel Morgan. And for the soldiers of the Battle of Cowpens, the memorial plate under Daniel Morgan reads, "To the American soldiers who on the field of Cowpens, January 17, 1781, fought victoriously for the right of self-government and civil liberty." The only Republican candidate that has consistently proven his dedication to restoring America and our people's right of self-government and civil liberty is Dr. Ron Paul, who would our founders vote for today. The play goes on to further remind, we enjoy the result of their toil and sacrifice. Let us emulate their fortitude and virtue. I repeat, let us emulate their fortitude and virtue. People of South Carolina, let us emulate their fortitude and virtue. Please vote for Ron Paul. My name is Evan Mulch, by the way. I have a bunch of brochures back there. I'd love to talk to you afterwards. Thank you so much.